Good morning, YouTubers. I just want to talk to you a little bit about grinders. Some of the do's and don'ts I've seen guys do, and I've done it myself in a pinch or working, with different metals and things. And, I'll go over some of the sanding discs, polishing discs. I just kind of want to talk, and I've got an instance, for instance, here. I have an old DeWalt grinder, and I know a lot of us have done this, have taken the shield off. Something that I really don't recommend doing with grinder, because I have in the past got my hand close enough, and as you can see, there's this, I don't know if you can see the scar there, but that's what that's from. I should practice what I preach, but I don't always do that. And that went through the glove, and it did not stop the grinder. I'll just put it that way. Luckily, there was somebody there to pull the plug. And I see a lot of guys do this. I've done it in the past. And, I know it's something that you shouldn't do. And I didn't mean to drop that. But a lot of us will do this. We will take a grinder blade, and I've had the bigger ones, that come down to about here. You don't have very much of a handle on this, and excuse me, my nose is sitting here running. Sorry, guys. A lot of times, when you've got the trigger here and that, and I try to keep my finger close enough to the trigger, just in case I have to shut it off. But if you'll notice this blade, how close this blade is, and excuse me, if something happens to where, you're grinding, cutting, or whatever, and you're in that position, look how close your fingers and things are to that blade. I don't recommend, putting a bigger blade than what it's for. In some instances, when I worked in industrial maintenance and things, you had no choice. A lot of times, I would, go and get the bigger grinder. This is a Craftsman 13 amp. It's one of the better ones, and it's supposed to have a shield on it also, but that's what this blade is for, is to go on this one. And I've seen time and time again, guys, we take chances. I'll just put it that way. We use what we have. This DeWalt grinder I've had for 15 years, I think. It's a little worse for wear. It's starting to fray and what have you. But I don't know. I've just seen so many guys take chances, and I've had the blades like this. One time I was cutting something, I believe it was on my greenhouse. I was cutting some metal, and I was in a hurry cutting. I got it to where it got in a bind, and the blade exploded, and it caught me in the gut, and it got me pretty good. I thought I was going to have to go have stitches, but I didn't. And that's the only thing I can say, guys, is just be careful with these. Wear the safety glasses with the side shields. If you have goggles, wear them, or a face shield. Just anything to prevent that. I've seen it time and time again. I was working with a guy, and he had one of these discs on. He was working overhead. And it done about what it did to me, but it didn't break the blade. It caught, and as it caught, it come towards him. It didn't have a guard on it, and it went down the side of his face. luckily they said he had safety glasses on, but they still, he got stuff a little bit in his eyes, but the material that's in these got into the cut and it infected him, and he had a rough time just a little bit, and he's got a permanent scar now. And that's the only thing I'm trying to say is just be a little bit cautious, be a little bit safe, think about things like that, have your gloves on. I've got a, excuse me, a welding deal I like to put on without, the front part. Some guys wear the front part. I just don't like it because in the past I've had a grinder catch it, wrap up, and once again, thank goodness somebody was there to shut it off. Everything happens in an instant, especially when you're in a hurry or if somebody's pressuring you to get a job done or something like that. Excuse me, having a rough time this morning. Industrial maintenance, we was under the pinch to get it done, get it running, no matter what it took. It was so many minutes of downtime, that's how much it cost them, and they wanted the machine up and running. They didn't care how you got it up and running, just as long as you got it up and running in a reasonable amount of time. And that's what I'm saying, and I'm sure some of you guys' job's that way. We used a lot of the sanding discs, grinding discs, and I've skinned my hand up with these, because I didn't have the guard on or whatever. The polishing discs, there's the same, the polishing discs are the same way. You just got to be a little bit more sensible on this stuff. I mean, it's a power, it's a piece of power equipment. It's anything that you deal with like that. There's a possibility of you having an accident. Knock on wood, I haven't had a whole lot of accidents and things with the grinders, but I've seen a lot of accidents happen, and guys, a lot of it was because, somebody was in a hurry, under the gun, wanted to get the job done, to go to the house, or, it was, late night or whatever. And I've seen that happen, and I've seen it happen more and more in the factory and in the industrial aspect and things than I care to. These discs are nice for polishing, cleaning up your welds, cleaning up different things. And I'd worked with a gentleman that every time he turned around, you had to remind him, it was our deal as leaders or lead men and things, if they weren't wearing their safety glasses or whatever, we had to call them on it. One day in particular, I had a gentleman that, and I understood, like I told him, sweat dripping off of you, you're in a hot environment, you really don't feel like wearing safety glasses, wearing gloves, it's inconvenient. But I would rather be inconvenient than to have somebody dig a piece of metal out of my eye. If any of you've ever had that done, it's no fun. I'll tell you from experience, I had a piece of metal get into my eye. I ignored it. I don't know if you know that your eye will put a film over it so many times. Well, I waited a whole day, and the way the doctor explained it to me, they had to drill the eye into the eye to get the piece of metal out. It was very irritating, a couple 2-3 days there. You know, it was just one of them things that you live and learn. I'll just put it that way. And you know, I've seen guys, a couple guys, and I'll do it every now and then. When I was welding doors and things, you don't always use your helmet. You just tack it and go on. Well, if any of you guys have ever had welding burn in your eyes, you'd understand it. It's like dumping sand in your eyes, and it don't go away. And everybody says, oh, use a potato, or they have an eye ointment, and some of you guys know what I'm talking about. You can put it in there and it'll help, but you know, it's still uncomfortable. It's the fact that, you know, you should listen to your self on things like that. I'm getting sidetracked, I'm sorry guys. But I just kind of want to talk to you, you know, when you do have these grinders and things, make sure that, you know, you use the proper tools. And I mean, this one here, I'll admit, it's a Haas Daddy. I don't like, I really don't like using it that much because it is so heavy. And this one's a little bit lighter, and I can put the deal on there without the guard. And, you know, I can cut and things. And I tell myself, well, you know, as long as I'm cautious, or as long as I, you know, take my time cutting that, I'll be okay. But that's not always the deal. That's not always the deal with it. And I think we have a tendency, like I said, you know, us guys take a little bit more of a chance on, you know, the different tools and things. And you know, there's so many different, you know, grinding discs, cutting discs. For the longest time, I did not know that you were not supposed to cut aluminum with a cutting disc. I had a gentleman come over, and I was cutting a piece of aluminum, and he had told me, he says, you know, you really shouldn't be cutting that with that particular disc. He said that aluminum can make that disc explode. He'd been to some different schools, and I call it a school, but different deals that they would tell you, you know, what the different blades do, what, you know, what cutting wheel was right to cut aluminum, what, you know, how to cut different metals different ways and not put them in a pinch and that. I never got the aspect, you know, mine was always trial and error, and I'm sure some of you guys are that way too. And I'm sure somebody can tell me that one way or another. But so from that point on, I stopped cutting aluminum with just the regular cutting disc. They will explode. I've had them explode a couple times. Thank goodness I've had face shield on, or thank goodness, you know, somebody was there to help me, you know, when I got into that situation. That's all I'm just saying. Try to be a little bit more cautious. You know, think of your surroundings. You know, it's just one of them things that you don't think of as a mechanic or as a industrial maintenance guy, welder, grinder. I mean, things just happen so quickly, and that's the main thing. You know, we all just have to be a little bit more cautious. I just kind of want to throw this out this morning. And once again, thank you for watching my videos. Go out there, help support the YouTube community. Go out, watch Jay Young, Bruce Allen, Justin Dowell, Junkie, Garnett Tools. Hopefully I got them all. They're the main ones that started this YouTube community, and you know, kudos to them. And just help support these guys. Go out and check out some of these newer guys that are out doing videos. Once again, God bless. Have a blessed day, and we will see you in the next video.